Hello dear students, so here we are with the second part of our chapter number 6, tissues. I hope you have liked the first part where we have discussed about plant tissues. In this video we are going to discuss about different types of animal tissues. Now when we are talking about animal tissues, you have to know that in animals the most of the tissues they are living because they have to perform specific functions like contraction and relaxations of muscle cells or movement of uh, particles, movement of substances from different parts from one organ to another, responding according to the external and internal stimuli. For these all functions, there are living tissues which are required. So in this video, we are going to talk about the animal tissues. Now when we talk about animal tissues, they are broadly categorized into four types on the basis of the functions which they are going to perform. And these broad categories, these five categories are epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscular tissue and nervous tissue. These are the four broad categories in which we have divided the animal tissues. As you can see here, this diagram is showing you the location of different type of tissues in different organs. So there every organ in the animal body that consists of all types of tissues there, and each type of tissue is performing its specific function. That is the requirement of living tissue in case of animals. So we are going to discuss about each type of tissue in detail. Okay, so let's go on. First of all, we are going to discuss about epithelial tissue. See, the epithelial tissue, or we call it epithelium, it is the simplest type of animal tissue which is acting as a protective covering. The main function of this tissue is to act as a protective covering. This tissue may contain one or more layers. The cells of these tissues, they are cohesively attached to one another in form of tight compact layers, and they mostly cover the external surface of the body parts. That's why we call it protective covering. Now in this tissue the cells are closely packed and there is intercellular material in between the cells. If there are some gaps retained in the between the cells, it is filled by the intercellular material. These epithelial tissue, they rest on, or they lie themselves on a non-cellular basement membrane. What I am trying to tell you, that epithelial tissue, they are making a lining. Always they are making a protective covering on a basement membrane. Now this basement membrane consists of glycoprotein and collagen fibers, right? And the epithelial tissue, the layer, till there is no blood vessel supply. The blood vessel supply is only across the basement membrane. Okay, till epithelial tissue layer there is no blood supply. Otherwise what will happen? As you see your skin on your hand, if you can observe that, there is no blood coming out from them. If there will be blood supply till the epidermis or till the epithelial tissue, then blood will come out. So this layer, this skin of your body, they are arranged on a basement membrane, and till that basement membrane blood supplies are present. Okay, now these epithelial tissues, on the basis of the number of layers, on the type of shape of cells, they are classified further as simple squamous epithelium, cuboidal epithelium, columnar epithelium, ciliated epithelium, uh, glandular epithelium and so on. So we are going to discuss about them now. Okay. See, this diagram is showing you that what are the arrangement of the cells, what are the different shapes of the cells which are forming the epithelial tissue. Here you can see the first diagram is showing the single layer. When the cells of the epithelial tissue, they are arranging themselves in form of single layer, that is called as simple tissue. Either it will be simple squamous epithelium or it will be simple cuboidal epithelium. Simple words comes for the single layer. And if many layers are arranged over one another, then we call it stratified. Stratified means layered. So the squamous cells, they can be arranged in layers, so it will be called as stratified squamous epithelium. And if cuboidal cells are arranged in different layers, then we will call it stratified cuboidal epithelium. So that is on the basis of number of layers. What we call it, simple means one layered and stratified means multi-layered. And here this right side of the diagram is showing you the shapes of the cells, that what will be the shape of squamous epithelium cells, what will be the shape of cuboidal epithelium cell, and how the pillar like cells are there. So they are called as columnar epithelium tissue. Okay, so that is the classification of epithelial tissue on the basis of their layers and on the basis of their cell shape, right? So here we are going to discuss about the types of epithelial tissue in detail. When we have discussed about the types of epithelial tissue, we have come to know that there are major 5 types of epithelial tissue, which are squamous epithelium, cuboidal epithelium, columnar epithelium, and ciliated and glandular epithelium. So first of all, squamous epithelium. This epithelium cells, they are thin, flat, irregularly shaped, and they are tightly packed with one another in form of tiles on the floor. That's why they are also commonly known as pavement epithelium. Okay. Now if we talk about their location, they are located as the lining of blood vessels, urinary tubules, and alveoli of the lungs. This epithelium also lines the buccal cavity, pharynx, esophagus, and the lower part of urethra. And the function of this epithelial is mainly to protect the organs or tissues against the mechanical injuries, and also they prevent the entry of germs and chemicals. And it also helps in excretion, gaseous exchange, and secretion. Now the second type of epithelium is cuboidal epithelium, where the cells will be cube-like, and these cells, they are mainly located, if we talk about their occurrence, on the linings of salivary ducts, pancreatic ducts, sweat glands, and salivary glands. Now their main function is protection, secretion, absorption, excretion. The third type of epithelial tissue is columnar epithelium, and this type of epithelium, the cells are pillar-like. They are taller. They are more taller than wider. Okay. The occurrence of this type of epithelium is the lining of stomach, intestine, and gallbladder. Now here the epithelium, columnar epithelium of intestine is showing finger-like projections, which are called villi. These villi increase the surface area of the small intestine, and they help in absorption of the digested food and water. Now these columnar epithelium only, sometimes they bear cilia on their free surfaces. Now these cilia, they help in movement. Okay, so if we talk about their occurrence, they are mainly present in the linings of urinary tubules of kidney, sperm ducts, and also the linings of nasal passage, oviducts, and all. The function here, the main function of the ciliated epithelium will be the movement of mucus, urine, eggs, sperms, etc. Right? And the last type of epithelial tissue is glandular epithelium. These glandular epithelium cells, they are modified to secrete the chemicals. So if we talk about their occurrence, they are mostly forming the linings of the glands. And the glands like gastric glands, pancreatic lobules, intestinal glands, so they have the main function to secrete the chemicals like hormones, enzymes, and all. Now we are moving to the next issue. The fourth type of connective tissue are skeletal tissue. A skeletal tissue forms rigid skeleton of our body, and they help in locomotion, providing shape, providing protection to our vital organs. Okay, skeletal tissue, they are categorized into two types: the cartilage and the bones. Now when we talk about cartilage is a hard but flexible skeletal tissue. Now it consists the living cells embedded in the matrix. The cells of cartilage, they are called chondrocytes. Okay, and these chondrocytes, they are surrounded by a fluid filled chamber that is called lacunae. Now lacunae, they are separated by the amorphous matrix, and that matrix contain the chondrin protein in it. Okay, so this chondrin protein is providing flexibility to the cartilage. Now where they will be present? The cartilage, they will be present in the pinnas of ear, end of the nose, in the walls of respiratory ducts, in between the vertebral disc. All these places, they consist the cartilage. Okay, the cartilage, they are more compressible than bone, and they absorb the mechanical jerks and provide flexibility to the body parts, right? The second type of skeletal tissue are bones. Bones are very strong, they are non-flexible connective tissue, and they consist the living bone cells. We can call it osteoblast also, right? These osteoblasts, they are embedded in a calcified matrix. Now the osteoblast, these bone cells, they contain lacunae, spaces, which are arranged in concentric circles throughout the matrix, right? You can see here in the diagram also. So concentric circles are there in the matrix of bones. Okay, these this matrix of the bone or this skeletal tissue, it composed 30% of organic material, chiefly collagen fibers and glycoprotein, and 70% are inorganic bone salts, which contain mainly phosphates, carbonates of calcium and magnesium. See, these inorganic salts, they are responsible for the hardness of bone, right? So these bones, they help in movement, support for the soft body parts, and also protect many delicate tissues and organs. So these are the two types of skeletal connective tissue. The last type of connective tissue, they are the fluid connective tissue, and they are also called vascular tissue, right? Fluid connective tissue, they are further categorized into two types: blood and the lymph. The blood is the most important, most abundant liquid connective tissue. Okay, it is composed of aqueous mixture of substances in a solution, in which there are different type of floating cells. That aqueous solution is actually the blood plasma. This plasma contain about 90% of water and 10% of different type of molecules, right? Different type of proteins like albumin, globulin, fibrinogen, glucose, amino acid, lipids, all are present in plasma, right? And if we talk about the blood cells, these blood cells which are suspended in this plasma, they are of three types. What are they? Red blood cells, white blood cells, and the platelets. The red blood cells, also known as erythrocytes, they contain a pigment which is called hemoglobin, and this hemoglobin pigment, when it reacts with oxygen, it turns into red color, and that is why blood is red in color, because hemoglobin pigment is carrying oxygen with it, right? Now red blood cells, they also contain an enzyme, carbonic anhydrase. This carbonic anhydrase enzyme is responsible for transporting carbon dioxide. See why I am mentioning it. You know that oxygen is carried by hemoglobin. So you should also know that how blood is carrying carbon dioxide. Blood is carrying carbon dioxide because RBCs contain an enzyme called carbonic anhydrase, which regulate the carbon dioxide transport. Okay. The second type of blood corpuscle is white blood cell. These white blood cells, they are showing amoeboid movement. They play important role in defense mechanism, right? Blood, these white blood cells, they are further categorized as phagocytes, which eat up the pathogen, and immunocytes. Immunocytes means those cells which are providing you immunity, either by secreting antibodies or by forming some specific cells to kill the germs. Okay, so that is about WBC, white blood cell. The third type of blood corpuscle are platelets, which are irregularly shaped, non-nucleated giant cells which are capable for blood clot, right? The another type of fluid connective tissue which is present in animal's body is called lymph. Now this lymph is actually the colorless fluid. It is not colored, and it is acting as a transporter or carrier or messenger between blood and the tissues. Okay. Now this lymph is also composed of uh, two parts. Plasma is again the fluid part, colorless fluid matrix, and white blood cells. Yes, WBCs are present in lymph. That's why the lymph is colorless, because white blood cells will not give any color to the this fluid tissue. Now because there is plasma, so lymph is helping in transportation of the material from tissues to blood and then blood to tissues, and as it consists WBCs, so it is providing defense mechanism. It is fighting against infections, germs, pathogens, and so on. Okay. The third type of animal tissue are the muscular tissues. Now these muscular tissues, as the name is suggesting, they will be forming the muscles. Okay, so muscle tissues, they consist cells which are elongated in structure, and these elongated cells, they are called muscle fibers. These muscle fibers, they can contain one nuclei or more than one nuclei. Okay, and generally they are arranged parallelly with one another. Now this muscular tissue, it is helping in contraction and expansion of these muscle fibers in a definite direction, which cause movement of the body part, and that is what the function of muscle tissue is, locomotion of the organism. Okay. Now these muscles fibers, they are categorized into three types. What are they? Striated muscles, non-striated muscles, and cardiac muscles. We will discuss about them one by one. Striated muscles, they form 80% of the muscular tissue. They are attached to the bones and the tendons and help in the movement of the body parts. And because they are attached to the bones and the tendons, what we call them? We call them skeletal muscles. Okay. The contraction and relaxations of these muscles, they are under the control of the animal. That's why these muscles are also called voluntary muscles. Now, if we look at the structure of these muscles show alternate dark and light color of bands. And because of these bands, because of these striations, we call them striated muscles also. Okay. The structures of these muscles, they are long, narrow, cylindrical, unbranched with the blunt ends. Their ends are not pointed, they are blunt. Okay, they are unbranched. And the bundles of these muscles, they are wrapped in a membrane. That membrane is called sarcolemma. So the plasma membrane which surrounds the cells or muscle fibers, that is called sarcolemma. Okay. Now the cells of muscles, they mostly occur in the limbs, they occur in the tongue, pharynx, and esophagus, and these muscles, striated muscles, they are helping in the movement of the body parts and the locomotion of the animal. The second type of muscular tissue are smooth muscles, or we also call them unstriated muscles. Why so? Because in this type of muscular tissue, the cells, they are long, they are narrow, spindle shaped, means pointed ends, and they have only one nucleus in the center. These smooth muscles, they occur within the walls of visceral organs, internal organs, except heart. In heart, these smooth muscles are not present. Okay. So vital organs like walls of alimentary canal, genital ducts, blood vessels, urinary bladder, so these muscles, they are actually not in control of our body. So they are called involuntary muscles. Even the iris and the ciliary bodies of eye, they are also having these smooth muscles. Okay, so uh, the third type of muscular tissue are cardiac muscles. The cardiac muscles, as the name is indicating, they are strictly present, they are confined to the walls of heart and to the pulmonary vein and superior vena cava. These both are connected with heart. So these are the reasons where cardiac muscles are present. These cardiac muscles, they are short, they are cylindrical, branched. Yes, they are highly branched and they are jointed with one another to form a network around the heart. Okay. These muscle fibers, they are also involuntary, because you know heartbeat you cannot control, beating of your heart. So that is an involuntary action due to these cardiac muscles which are involuntary. These cardiac muscles, they are helping in rhythmic contraction and relaxation of the cardiac wall, heart walls. Okay, but they never get fatigued, they never get tired. This is about the muscular tissue. So here this slide is showing you the difference between the three types of muscular tissue. You can see here the smooth muscles, they are spindle shaped, they are uninucleated, unbranched. Whereas cardiac muscles, they are highly branched, they are uninucleated, involuntary. And the skeletal muscles, they are unbranched but multinucleated, attached to the bones and the tendons. Clear? The last type of animal tissue is nervous tissue. Now when we talk about nervous tissue, the function of this nervous tissue is to receive the stimuli from within the body or from outside the body. Okay, now nervous tissue, they contain densely packed nerve cells which are also called as neuron. Okay, so neuron is the unit of nervous tissue, and as the diagram is showing here, the structure of the neuron is like the cell body or the cytone, which contains the major amount of cytoplasm and the central nucleus. In this cell body, there are Nisser's granules also. These Nisser's granules are actually ribosomes and RER, rough endoplasmic reticulum. From the cytone, there are many short branches coming out. These short branches, they are called dendrites, and the singular is dendron. Okay, the branched projections coming out from the cell body are called dendrites. Right? These dendrites, they provide a large surface area for connection within the neurons. They conduct the nerve impulse towards the cell body of the another of a neuron. And one of the projection, it is highly elongated, and that highly elongated cylindrical projection is called axon. Okay, now this axon is showing fine branching at the terminal end. These branches ends up with a swollen structure that is called synaptic knob. Okay, these axons, they carry impulses away from the cell body to the other neuron. Now the synaptic knob of the axon connects with the dendrites of another neuron. In between these connections, there is a gap in between. There is a in between this junction, there is a minute gap, and that minute gap is called synapse. Okay, this minute gap is the place from where transmission of nerve impulse takes place from one neuron to another. So these are the different type of animal tissues which are in our syllabus, and we have discussed them all one by one. So these are the questions related with the animal tissues. See, first question is asking you that name the tissue which is responsible for movement. Obviously what it will be? The muscular tissue, because they are attached with the bones. What does neuron look like? Just now we have discussed that what is the structure of neuron. Neuron consists of cell body, dendrites and the axon. Remember, you will never forgot to draw the diagram. I have written diagram because I have already shown you the diagram of neuron earlier. Okay. Give three features of cardiac muscles. The cardiac muscles, they are involuntary, they are cylindrical, branched and uninucleate, and they are controlling the rhythmic contraction and relaxation of heart, and they never get fatigued also. Okay. What are the functions of areolar tissue? What was the name of areolar tissue? The loose connective tissue. So that will give you the function. It is the supporting tissue in between the internal organ and also help in repairing of skin and the muscles. It helps in repairing of wearing and tearing, right? So here this is the summary of the whole chapter. What were the different type of plant tissues that we have discussed? If you can take the screenshot, this is the flow chart giving you the complete division of plant tissues. Okay, and these are the different type of epithelial tissue with their respective functions and location. This table is completing the whole epithelial tissue. I think that some students, they are more comfortable in learning tables rather than learning the paragraphs. That's why I have inserted this slide. You can take the screenshot and you can make your notes from here also. Good. So here this is the summary of the animal tissues that we have discussed in this video. This is giving you all types of tissues, the four major tissues that we have discussed in animals. What were they? Epithelial tissue, muscular tissue, nervous tissue and connective tissue. So I have tried to summarize the all types of animal tissue with this slide. Okay. Now there are again some questions related with the chapter which I think that I should provide you the complete answer. It will be easier for you to write it. So you can take the screenshot of these questions, that what are the elements of xylem tissues and how the simple tissue and complex tissues are different from one another. This another slide is showing you the difference between parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma and function of stomata, differences between striated, non-striated and cardiac muscles. See, these are the common questions which are formed from this chapter. That's why I have shown them in the slide form. If you will take the screenshot and you will prepare your notes, they will help you a lot in revising the chapter. Okay. So that's all for today from the chapter tissues. I hope you like the video. Don't forget to subscribe my channel. Thank you. Bye.